I thought this would be a perfect time for another sit and chat. I am in one of my storage garages. This is the storage garage that I have my garage sales out of twice a week. Been here since Memorial Day weekend after I closed my antique mall booth. A booth that I had in an antique mall for 17 years, almost 17 years. And you know, it reminds me, I think I said that I would, in my first video, that I would say why I left my booth. It was not by choice. And I promise I will tell you that story, but this is not a good time. I'm having way too much fun, way too much success doing what I am doing here in my garage. But I thought this would be a good time for a sit and chat. I ask you to go back and look at some of my other videos because it gives you a little history of what's been going on and what I'm all about. But maybe I'll give you another quick synopsis. I tend to ramble, so I hope, well, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. But a little about me. I'm Julie, and I have been a long-time reseller or a dealer with antiques and collectibles, vintage, secondhand, uniques, and it all started actually years ago in the 90s when I would sell on eBay, and that was an on and off thing. By profession, I'm a registered nurse, and I've been a registered nurse since 1989. But my side gig was eBay, on and off, like I said. And then, you know, after my dad retired from his employment, he opened up an antique store. And eventually, when I found kind of some interest in it, I volunteered. He had me watch the shop when he would go off to auctions. So I would, you know, once or twice a week in the summer, it was a seasonal business. I would watch the shop for him, ran the cash register so he could go and get more goodies for his antique store at auctions. So yeah, having worked his shop, I started getting the flavor, and the flavor tasted great. So by that next season, he gave me a room in his building for me to sell my wares. And that I did. And then he eventually retired. And when he did, he wanted me to have the business. And I was a full-time nurse. I wasn't about to give up nursing, but I also was not about to give up reselling. So what I did instead was I got a booth at an antique mall, the antique mall that I was more recently in. And to make the transition a little easier for me, he said he would do it with me together, at least for the first couple of months. He was planning on just retiring from the business. So that he did, we did, and it made the transition out of my own, I guess you could say, much easier for me because I was really anxious. I was really anxious when I first had my booth. But and so on and so forth. That's the short and long of it. But yes, I did close my booth at the end of April of this year. And this garage that I'm sitting in right now, sitting and chatting with you, is one of my now 3 garages here in Maine. I had to get this one because when I did close my booth, the other 2 garages were very full. And I had a very, very, very full booth at the mall. So I got this one, and once, you know, the closure was over, I then kind of did some back and forth with furniture and curated this garage into a garage sale setting. Now, my history with garage sales is not a new concept. I actually, my husband and I winter in Texas. And so initially I had started sourcing some items from my stay in Texas, and I would bring them back with me to Maine. And then one day I got a referral from a lady who was moving into her mom's home, and she was downsizing, obviously moving into from her house to her daughter's house, and she had furniture that she wanted to sell. So she asked me if I would come by and give her an offer, and I looked, and I really loved a lot of her items. And I gave her a fair price. I had no idea that she would take me up on it, and she did. So, in that case, I needed to get myself a storage space down there because I had now not only smalls, I had a lot of furniture. So when I hauled that out of her home, I had to enlist the help of my husband and a couple of his guy friends because it was a bigger deal than I had anticipated. But, and then it began. I started selling out of a storage garage down in Texas, Northeast Texas, on Facebook Marketplace. And then I decided once kind of spring in Texas started arriving, I started having garage sales. So the concept of having a garage sale up here in Maine was it was different for me here, but not different overall. So I still surprised myself though, because we are a rural area. Sales here can be very seasonal. We do have obviously year-round residents, but you know, we get the tourists, we get a lot of people, and sales in the summer, at least at the mall, were always pretty busy and profitable. Wintertime, not so much, but you know, I always did okay. So when I started this, it was a slow start, but you know, I did get people from the antique mall, the people who would come and visit my booth, who were familiar with me because I'd been there for 17 years. And then I got a lot of people who had either one, never been at that mall, or had been at that mall, but it was like years ago. So that was really an eye-opener for me. And I had, like I said, I started in May, Memorial Day weekend. June, but it took until about mid to late June before things started really kicking in. But it became really successful, and it became busy. And I was just, I think I surprised myself. I mean, there were things that sold that I had here, big things, items, furniture that I may have had at the mall, on and off, and for one reason or another, they hadn't sold. And they were some of my biggest winners, successes, profits, right here at this garage sale. So what I'd like to share with you after I finish this chat is a walkthrough of one of my more recent garage sales just before I transitioned it to autumn. I do plan on vacating this space at the end of September. Initially, my biggest goal was to do this so that I could whittle down my inventory. I wanted to get back to just 2 storage spaces. And the other day when I was kind of crunching my numbers, I said to myself, oh my goodness, I can do this. I've done it. So I also, after my walkthrough that I'll show you, I'll give you a little montage of some of my sales that I've had since Memorial Day weekend through the summer that have just made me really happy. And it's not to brag. I'm not bragging. I'm not one to brag. It's just that I think what it did is it filled me with a lot of confidence that you know, you try hard enough and you put a lot of effort into something, good things can happen. So what I will do at the end of September is vacate this space, and I do have other plans. I still have 2 other garages here in Maine. I still have that one garage in Texas. So when we winter down there this year, I'll be opening that back up. But I'm not going to share with you quite yet what my plans are, but I can give you a hint. It's involving live sales, because I've enjoyed this YouTube experience a lot. And I started this YouTube experience when I ended my booth. It was something I think I did. I knew it was exasperating to think that I could do this, but I said I needed something to offload the stress of trying to unload my booth and leave the mall that I was in after 17 years. So it worked, and now I'm still growing here on YouTube, and that's probably the long of it, because I do tend to ramble. But let me move on. I'll show you a walkthrough of what this garage looked like just before I transitioned it into autumn. I just have a short period of time to celebrate or bring stuff for sale for autumn, so I did that. It's now nearing the end of August. So in the meantime, I still have weeks to go, and I'm looking forward to it. And I will, the next video, if you follow me and see some interest in some of what I do and what I have to sell, I will show you a walkthrough next time of what autumn in my garage looks like. Meanwhile, enjoy, thank you, and hope to see you soon. Okay, it's Friday, and I am here at my garage sale. So I'm going to give a quick walkthrough. It's Friday, the 15th of August. Yes, it's past halfway. August is more than half over, if you can believe that. I'd like not to, because summer has been awesome, but gotta face reality. Doesn't last forever. So the reason for this little walkthrough is because after today, many of these items will not be here. If they don't sell through the day today, I'll be switching out some of these items to bring in autumn. Yes. So right now, right today, we still have a lot of summer things. Flowers. Oh, I brought in a whole bunch of quart vintage mason jars. Some of these items that you see, if you've been watching my videos, have been here for a couple of weeks at least. But it's that time. It's that time to transition and freshen this place up. Some things won't go away. That's my partner in crime up there. He stays with me wherever I go. But anything that's kind of summery is going to be gone. I'm only here through September. At the end of September, I will be vacating this space. So I have a very short time to celebrate or to introduce autumn. And I do have lots of nice autumn decor and other pieces of furniture that I'm bringing in that I'd like to try to, sell. But I do love the bright colors of summer. I do. I also like the colors of autumn. But, so, if you see something that you cannot live without, or you want to know more about, please send me a message, because I'd love to be able to hook you up with something special. Or if you just would like to let me know what your favorite I Spy was, I would love to hear from you. Either way, enjoy. And until next time. This glass top coffee table was my first big sale when I first started the garage. I had somebody who had been following me at the booth, and she found me at the garage sale and bought that table and a whole bunch of other things. I'll get to those. These 3 Aeroback chairs were a quick sale. Then there was a young lady who came and looking for my booth after I had left, and she had purchased one of those hurricane glass shades a while ago. She knew I had a stock of them, and she had broken hers, so she came looking for me. I wasn't there, but she found me at my garage sale, and she not only bought, she bought whatever I had left, which was the 3 shades, and one of them was on a oil lantern. So that was awesome. This sale out of my garage sale was history in the making for me. It is actually a ironing board closet that came from my old home out of, I think, Eddington, Maine. And I'd had that in my booth. I never really could correctly put it up against the wall because it's meant to be recessed and elevated so that when you open the closet, you've got the ironing board that comes out. But that was a sale early in my weeks of garage sailing. Many smalls also sold, like those brass horses, a big bright ceramic bird, and a pair of worn mariners. I had several old weathered shutters. 2 of them sold early in the season. Lots of terracotta pots were a big hit as summer began, as well as other planters. This vase, this cute 3-bird ceramic planter, smaller furniture like this nightstand, and this 2-drawer file cabinet sold, and both of those were in my booth over the winter. Unsold, but they sold in my garage sale. These stool chairs were really nice. My dad had redone the shaker tape on the seats. They never sold in my booth, but they did sell the first month that I had them in my garage sale. Some more smalls like this utensil caddy and an accordion wall rack, and the goose or duck plant bracket. That was nice. And over the years, I had been hoarding these commander chairs or director chairs, whichever you want to call them, and I would refinish them and put new canvas on them and sell. But I had 5 pairs that I needed to just let go. So I sold at least 2 of the pairs, 2 out of the 5 pairs I had, as is, $5 each. Yay. I still have 3 pairs left. This unusual and unique side table was in my booth for a long time. Never sold, but it sold in my garage sale. And a lovely lady got that. Some other tables sold, like this old work table and this beautiful drop leaf table. And a tourist vacationing here from Massachusetts saw this box and had to have this. Great advertising. Some more smaller items like that galvanized planter and the round wicker mirror, those duck decoys. Some more salvaged house parts also found new homes, like that chippy white screen door. Came from a camp, I believe, from Cherryfield. Even though this table was warped, it sold. And this beautiful mirror. Someone came all the way from Augusta to Ellsworth just to get those turquoise lamps. And lots of baskets sold. Now these were pretty much all the baskets that I had to start. At least half of them have sold. And some, I still have some of them. But I had a wonderful summer. I really did. And I didn't show you everything that I sold through the summer, but it was a good summer. And I hope you return soon to see my autumn flair.